Welcome back to another video. My name is Anita and this is my channel. I'm sorry my voice sounds a little off today. I'm coming down with something. A coworker showed up at work sick the other day and we were working in close proximity, so I think I'm catching whatever she had. Anyway, about today's video. The Sketchbook Slam Challenge ended last week and this is a flip through of what I managed to accomplish. I call it a successful failure, because I didn't fill all 600 pages, but I've drawn more in August than I have in the last year or two. Let me warn you right off the bat, this will not be a very exciting sketchbook tour. I'm mostly focused on improving my art, so you'll see a lot of anatomy studies and random body parts like ears. So before I tell you what I did wrong, let me tell you first what I did right. Number one, I made a list of the things I wanted to study or practice drawing. And while I didn't stick to it, I definitely skipped a bunch of subjects. It did help me continue on those days that I had no clue what to draw. All I had to do was look at my list, pick something, and then go find references. Number two, I numbered my pages before I started the challenge. It made it really easy to see how many pages I covered without having to go back and count every few minutes to see how many pages I still had left to draw that day. Number three, I did my warm-up exercises in the book. Well, at least later in the challenge, I started doing my exercises in the book. I probably lost a good 10 pages or 15 pages if I had been doing it from the start. It's not much in the grand scheme of things, but that's 10 pages short I could have had. Number four, I drew large. It forced me to use my whole arm instead of just my fingers or my wrist, which is overall better for the art, for drawing, but it also helped me fill the pages faster. When I started, I probably didn't draw as big as I should have. It took a while to get comfortable drawing that size. I'm used to drawing small sketches and small books, so having something that big and trying to draw that big, it definitely was a challenge in itself. And number five, I hardly ever erased anything. Probably in the whole month, I've used my eraser 5 times, maybe 6 times. I don't remember, but it wasn't much. It kept me from wasting time on redoing things, and it taught me to be more careful with placing my lines in the first place. So that was definitely a good experience not using the eraser. So here are the things that I think I did wrong. Number one, I overestimated how much time I would have. Now, since technically I'm a part-time employee, I was trying to squeeze in the drawing around my work schedule, but I had actually less free time than I thought I would have. It just happened that August turned out to be my busiest month so far, not counting Christmas time, but anyway, so August was pretty busy. Usually as a part-time employee, I only get about 33 hours per week. Well, last month I was consistently hitting 35, 37 hours. 2 hours might not seem like much on the surface, but when you deal with people all day and then training new employees on top of that, it takes a lot out of you, and it doesn't leave you with much energy to draw. So that was my number one mistake. I didn't think about how much time I actually had. Number two kind of ties in with number one. I overestimated how much energy I would have. Long hours is one thing, but the problem I ran into, which I didn't expect, was that I felt tired right out of bed. Waking up in the morning was just a real pain. I couldn't get up. I would constantly hit the snooze button, and I usually get up around 6:30. In August, for some reason, some days I wouldn't get up sometimes until 7:30, 8 o'clock, which cut into my drawing time significantly. So that was number two. I seriously, I don't know what was going on. Maybe the challenge itself was really bringing my energy levels down because I was trying to do so much at the same time. So anyway, number three. Initially, I did my warm-up exercises in another sketchbook, as I mentioned earlier. I should have used the big sketchbook for all of that, and it could have easily added a bunch of pages to my final count. In hindsight, like I said, 10 pages doesn't really seem like much when you're 187 pages behind, but still, 10 pages is 10 pages. Number four, I underestimated how much effort it takes to fill a 600-page sketchbook. When I first saw the book, when it arrived in my mailbox, it was definitely intimidating to looking at it. I even compared it, like I put my regular sketchbook that I usually draw in next to the big sketchbook, and like, oh my gosh, how am I gonna fill it in? But anyway, but it I guess it didn't really hit me. I felt confident I could do it, and I was looking at it like, oh well, what's 20 pages a day? Piece of cake, right? I only need to draw big and just scribble away. Well, as I found out, it's not that simple, especially when you're not used to drawing that big or that much. So that was my mistake number four. And number five, the final mistake I made. Well, I'm sure there were more mistakes, but the last major mistake I made was that halfway through I signed up for a drawing class on svslearn.com. If you don't know what that is, SVS stands for Society of Visual Storytelling, and they have a bunch of really neat drawing and illustration classes and storytelling classes. It's worth checking out. It's a subscription-based website, or you can buy just one course at a time, depending on what you can afford. But anyway, it's worth checking out. I leave the link in the description. Anyway, while doing a class did help me fill a few pages, and I did learn new things, which I'm always happy to learn new things, I also spent a lot of time just listening to the instructors. Gosh, can't speak. Anyway, I spent a lot of time listening to the instructors, just explaining things instead of drawing. So I wasted a lot of time right there. But anyway, so that's the 5 things I think I did wrong. I have learned a bunch of things about myself. Like number 1, I'm actually better at drawing than I thought I was. I know this sounds conceited, and some people might not agree, but let me explain. This challenge forced me to not worry about making mistakes and just go for it. Since time was of the essence, I had no time to worry about mistakes. It's like, okay, I made a mistake, great, next time I'll know what to avoid. I just had to keep going. I found that when I stopped worrying about screwing up, I actually did pretty good. Better than I would have expected. I stopped trying to make everything perfect. I didn't have time to fix mistakes. I had to actually, kind of, not literally, but I took a step back. I had to take a step back and accept that the bad and the good and the average, and for the most part, there were more good things in my drawings than bad, which really surprised me. I always thought my art was mediocre at best. But anyway, so that was number 1. I'm feel like I'm better than I was. Number 2, I stepped out of my comfort zone, and it wasn't as scary as I thought it would be. doing this challenge in itself was a huge step out of my comfort zone. Like I said before, I haven't really been drawing that much. Yeah, scribble here, scribble there, doodle while I'm watching TV or something. But this really pushed me out of my comfort zone. I had to literally sit down and make a conscious effort to draw every single day. And on top of that, I had to reach for subjects I usually stay away from, which is pretty much everything in art. Anyway, joking aside, I actually put some time into studying the things that I struggle with, like, animals and nature in general, trees, rocks, mountains, clouds. It's just, I always found a way around it to avoid it, or, kind of just hinted at it, but I actually sat down and actually studied, what it takes to draw each one. Number 3, I found that I absolutely hate practicing. I know I'm not the only one. There's a lot of people out there that don't like practicing. But it's probably one of the reasons I didn't finish this challenge on time, because I find repetitive tasks boring. I do love drawing characters, but I also like to see those sketches more finished, and I couldn't afford to take the time to polish things up because of the deadline I was racing against. So I admit I was stalling every once in a while. Anyway, at number 4, I draw better with references. For whatever reason, I struggle when it comes to drawing from memory, which is really frustrating, but it's also not really surprising. Until recently, I haven't exactly been taking my art seriously. It was just a hobby I picked up every once in a while, so all the muscle memory I should have been developing all these years, well, it never happened. Which leads me to number 5. I love drawing more than I thought I did. There was a couple of times in my past where I gave up drawing for quite a while, actually, with every intention of never going back to it. I didn't see any improvement in my art, mostly because I wasn't taking the time to practice. And I also struggle with depression. I still do. Though I think I have it under control for the most part right now. So anyway, ultimately, I kept coming back to art. That was another reason I wanted to do this challenge, is to find out how much art actually means to me. I figured that by the time I was done, I would either hate it so much I would never look at another sketchbook in the rest of my life, or I would finally develop the daily habit of doing something I love, which is drawing. So, there you have it. Would I do it again? Yes. Now that I actually know what to expect and how things can get in the way and how I tend to work, I think I could succeed the next time. I might actually give it a try next year, or 2 years from now, or maybe never. There are so many other challenges I want to do that I might not have the time. But yeah, I definitely would give it another try. What now that it's over? I plan on filling the sketchbook all the way, though I'm gonna take my time with it. I also hope to go back through and fill in all the empty spaces, so maybe in a few months, maybe sometime next year, I'll do another video revisiting this monster book. But for now, Inktober is coming, and I want to get ready for that. It will be my first time practicing. I'm not practicing, participating. Sorry. I'm looking forward to it. I wanted to give it a try last year, but I didn't even know where to start. So this year I decided I've been getting ready pretty much. I already bought my inking tools and paper and everything. So how is it going to work with recording videos? I don't know yet. That's something I'm trying to figure out right now. Anyway, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. And I'll see you next time. Bye.